The following is a presentation of the Waynesburg University Sports Network.
Welcome back to the Waynesburg University Sports Network. The last time we were able to broadcast live sports to you was back in February. In an ideal world or time, we'd be bringing you, and we'd love to bring you Waynesburg University football games on Saturday afternoons. However, at the moment, this isn't an ideal world or time, and we here at WUSN can't bring you Jacket Sports since the President's Athletic Conference pushed sporting events to the spring. At least tonight, we'll be able to give you some live high school football as the Carmichaels Mighty Mikes will be taking on the California Trojans. But first, we're going to be discussing how the WPIAL has handled the play of fall sports in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Riley Holsinger, joined alongside Chris Hulse and Bruce Davidson. Gentlemen, or we'll start with you, Chris. How do you think the WPIAL has handled everything with COVID?
Related to the COVID-19 pandemic, I give the WPIAL an A+ rating on their handling of it. Considering what a fluid situation it is, how difficult it must have been for these schools to make decisions in regards to actually playing games and then deciding what to do with fans in attendance. I think it was really difficult for them to come to agreement. Obviously, you had some schools decide to hold games without any fans, but for the most part, schools have allowed a limited number to attend, and I think that's really great. So, parents, close family members of these kids, they get to go out and they get to see their student athletes perform. For the underclassmen, you get to see them, getting their first varsity minutes. And for the seniors, potentially the last time they're ever playing competitive football, a game they love, you get to be there with them in their final season. And actually playing the games, a few weeks ago there was a small COVID outbreak in the West Green School District, and they opted to go remote for a couple of days in terms of their classes. So obviously the schools are taking the pandemic very seriously, but they're still making every effort to get these games played, and I think that's commendable. Yeah,
definitely. In week one, I announced Waynesburg Central versus Beth Center, and there were just pretty much only fans there that were parents of the athletes. And now last week, I was announcing a game, and there were a lot more fans since the restrictions have changed a little bit. So Bruce, going to you now, what is your thoughts on how the WPIAL has handled everything related to COVID?
I think they've done the best job they could possibly do. This is a virus, this is a pandemic that affects high school football, college, NFL football. We've seen them have to reschedule games for upwards of 8 teams. WPIAL is not in a position where they could do that. Would I like if they would get all the games played? Sure, but this is a fluid situation. They're doing the best job they can, and my only concern going forward is in determining playoff spots where you have teams playing an uneven number of conference games, an uneven number of games in general. I don't envy anyone at the WPIAL that has to make the decision as to who gets a wild card spot and who doesn't, because they're probably going to be put in a position similar to the College Football Playoff Committee, which is yearly criticized for, well, this team should get in, well, this one should get in. So I think they've done a great job despite all the circumstances, and hopefully we get to the playoffs with no more positive tests and no further outbreaks.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested to see what would happen there if there were positive tests that came up in the playoffs, because if you're the WPIAL, what would you do if that would happen? That's the big question that they have to be thinking about right now. And like you said about them trying to make up games, like in this situation, it's pretty much hard because the WPIAL is trying to stick close to their schedule as possible. So guys, real quickly, if there were any changes that the WPIAL should make, what should they be?
Touching on what Bruce said about the WPIAL football committee deciding the fate of the playoff teams, not so much a change. I think that is actually the best course of action that they could have taken. A lot of teams are going to be, very upset when they get left out of the playoff picture. But at the same time, these games canceled because of COVID, you're not really in a position to make them up, so I think it's actually the best way forward.
Bruce?
I don't really imagine many changes I think they could make off the top of my head. I was reading that they're going to allow the same number of fans for each schools when we get to the playoffs ticket sales, so I think that's the best thing they could do in keeping it fair.
All right, thank you guys. Stay tuned to the Waynesburg University Sports Network as the guys will be previewing the WPIAL playoffs.
It's a Saturday night. You know what that means. Time to party. Sam is having a good time, watching sports, drinking beer, playing Pong. Not a care in the world for Sam. Nobody at the party stopped Sam. They let him walk out the door with his keys, even though he was stumbling, having a hard time to stand up. What happened less than 10 minutes later would change Sam's life forever.
We are a few weeks away from the WPIAL playoffs. Let's run through each class and give your guys' opinion on the team to beat, a possible one-and-done team, and a sleeper team. Let's start at the bottom class at 1A and work our way up. So Bruce, let's start out with your 1A team to beat, your underdog, and then the team that you think is going to go one and done.
Okay, starting off in 1A, my favorite are the Clairton Bears. Their closest game was 34-28 in week 1, but they've been rolling ever since. I feel like the Bears are the beasts of the Eastern Conference in single A. As far as my sleeper team, I'm going to look at Shenango. They had a close game in their first week, 25-12, but they've only given up 33 points since then. I don't think we should be keeping our eyes off of Shenango. And as far as a one-and-done team goes, I look at Olsh, otherwise known as Our Lady of Sacred Heart. Their only challenge this year was against Rochester, and they lost that game by 26 points.
Chris?
All right, so 1A, no disagreement with Bruce there. Clairton, I think, absolutely the favorite to go back-to-back. Dante Sanders, their 6'2" running back, an absolute monster. He's already got 14 touchdowns this season. They're the favorite. For my sleeper, I'm going with the Mighty Mikes of Carmichaels, who we're going to see today. They're my sleeper. And then, once again, I'm agreeing with Bruce, Our Lady of Sacred Heart for the one and done.
All right, my favorite for Class 1A is I have Clairton, averaging 55.8 points per game on the year and only giving up 10.5, excuse me. So very good numbers out of Clairton, just a very solid team. Once again, one of those powerhouses that we've seen in the WPIAL. My one and done team, Shenango. Bruce, he had him as his sleeper. Chris, I believe you did too. Not my sleeper though. They're my one and done team. My sleeper team though is going to be whoever wins the Carmichaels in California game tonight. Now moving over to Class 2A, Bruce, who's your favorite? One and done and then sleeper.
The favorite in 2A to me are the McGuffey Highlanders. They beat Washington 7-6 in the opening week, lost a non-conference game, but it's been smooth sailing ever since for them. My sleeper in 2A are the Apollo Ridge Vikings. I don't think we should overlook them. They've scored 42 points in every single game thus far. And as far as a one and done goes, I'm not sold on Western Beaver. I think they are the weakest of the conference leaders in 2A.
Chris?
All right, once again, not going to disagree with Bruce about the favorite, the McGuffey Highlanders, undefeated in conference play. They utilize that triple option offense really well. McKinley Whipke, their fullback, is a monster. Kyle Brookman, underclassman, he leads the team with 7 total touchdowns. And Rocco Falosk, their quarterback, capable of running for 50 yards on one play and then lofting it over top of the defense on the next. McGuffey, easily the favorite. For my underdog, I'm going to go with Apollo Ridge. And then for the one and done, people will get upset at me over this, but I have Wash High as my one and done. Their time, I think, is over.
For my favorite, I'm going with Apollo Ridge here. I think Logan Harmon's putting together a very good season, 10 touchdowns in 4 games played. My one and done, I have Western Beaver. And then my sleeper, I have McGuffey. I think McKinley Whipke, he's been balling out for McGuffey as of late. So Bruce, moving up to 3A now.
Yeah, going up the ladder to 3A, I feel like the favorite there is going to be North Catholic. Their closest game was only a mere 21-point margin with a 35-14 win over East Allegheny. As far as a sleeper goes, I look to Elizabeth Ford. They've got 2 shutouts, and in their other 2 games, they've only given up 20 points. A good matchup with Mount Pleasant this week for them. And as for a one and done, I look to South Park. They've been outscored 63-2 in their last 2 games. They may not even get a wild card spot in 3A.
All right, in 3A, North Catholic, again, my favorite, outscoring their opponents by 40 points a game. I think they're easily the top choice there. For an underdog, I'm going with Central Valley. Their numbers also, really impressive. I think people are looking at them as sort of a team that's beaten up on lower opponents, but I think when you put them out against that top competition, they're going to surprise some people. And for the one and done, I'm going with Freeport. I don't think they really have a whole lot going on either side of the ball.
My favorite is Central Valley. Amir Dudley has been a stud for them last year and this year. My one and done team, I'm going with East Allegheny here. And then my sleeper, Elizabeth Forward, sitting at 4-0 right now. The defense has been very solid for Elizabeth Forward, only allowing 5 points a game. Moving up to 4A now, Bruce.
Yes, for 4A, I think your favorite there is Aliquippa. They gave up 28 in the opening week, but since then they've only given up 14 in the next 4 games. A sleeper team to me in 4A is Bell Vernon. Every win has been a shutout. Their only mistake, a loss to their conference leader, Thomas Jefferson, 42-21. And as for my one and done, I look to Armstrong. They're not locked in, and every one of their wins has been by 2 or more scores, but each loss, 3 scores or more. They're too much boom, too much bust when they go on the field.
Chris?
Yeah, Bruce and I keep agreeing on these favorites here. Aliquippa, I think, easily among 4A teams, they're by far the best. 129 total points scored on the season. For my underdog, though, I'm going to go with Mars. 4-1 record in the conference. Their only loss coming against Plum, who are a very good team. So I think Mars sort of flying under the radar. And then one and done, I know a team you're somewhat high on, Riley. I have Thomas Jefferson being the one and done out of 4A.
Wow, that kind of surprised me a little bit, Chris. So my favorite for 4A is Thomas Jefferson. I think they've just been playing very solid. They're a powerhouse year in and year out. But my second favorite, I have Aliquippa. Aliquippa is one of those powerhouses too. I think Thomas Jefferson and Aliquippa, you could put either for your favorites there, or I could have put either down, and I would have been fine with either of them. My one and done, Chartiers Valley, hasn't really impressed me at all this year. And then my sleeper, I'm going with Mars Fighting Planet, sitting at 4-1 on the year. They've been playing solid as of late. Moving up to 5A, Bruce.
In 5A, I think the team to beat there are the Pine Richland Rams. Every one of their wins has been by 21 or more. They've put up 30 or more in each game. A sleeper to me in 5A, the South Fayette Lions. They lost to Peters Township. They also lost a non-conference game to Chartiers Valley, but I wouldn't trust giving them a second crack at Peters Township. They may get them. They're only giving up 12 points a game. That's the same number as the PT defense. And a one-and-done team to me is Fox Chapel. They're a negative 71 point differential, and they lost 35-13 to a Moon team that may not even make the WPIAL playoffs.
Chris?
Yeah, a lot of agreement with me and Bruce once again. Pine Richland, nearly 50 points per game. They're averaging. I think they're the favorite. South Fayette, then they come in as the underdog for me. I agree with a lot of what Bruce said. And then for the one and done, I think it's that Peters Township team that beat South Fayette. If those two meet up again, I don't like the matchup as much for Peters Township.
I completely agree with you with the one and done there with Peters Township. My 5A favorite has to be Penn Trafford. Now, Penn Trafford's record isn't as pretty this year, sitting at 3-1, but that offense is high-powered, and once Penn Trafford gets into the playoffs, it's going to be scary for any team that faces them, averaging 40.8 points per game. My sleeper, Woodland Hills, 4-1, third in the conference, but honestly, they should be a little bit higher in my opinion. Moving up to Class 6A, Bruce.
Yeah, finishing off with 6A, I think your favorite there is North Allegheny. They're undefeated. They had one scare, a 14-11 game against Mount Lebanon, but they're likely your top seed with wins over Cannon Mac and Hempfield down the stretch. My sleeper there is Seneca Valley. They did have an ugly loss, 33-7 to Central Catholic, but outside of that, they've only given up 20 points in their other 3 games, and they did not play North Allegheny this year. That game was postponed. And my one and done is Cannon McMillan. To me, they're too inconsistent. They've got 2 losses by 14 or more, a blowout win, and their only other win was by 1 touchdown over Mount Lebanon.
Chris?
So the favorite in 6A, it's easier to pick because all these teams have, seen each other. North Allegheny is the favorite, by far the best defense in all of 6A. The one and done, though, I'm going with Seneca Valley. That loss against Central Catholic really doesn't inspire confidence for me. which is why Central Catholic is going to be my underdog. They actually have the top-rated offense in terms of points per game in 6A, so I like them.
We have a pretty similar list here, Chris. You're not all with Bruce on this one. My Class 6A favorite is North Allegheny. I think they've been playing very well this season, sitting at 4-0. My one and done, though, instead of Seneca Valley, it's Central Catholic for me, sitting at 3-2. They score a lot of points, but they also give up a lot of points on defense. It's kind of like a Big 12 team in college football. And then my sleeper, I have Seneca Valley. Solid defense, only gives up 13.3 points per game. The playoff predictions have been put down in pen. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the WUSN pregame show for the Carmichaels in California game. Let's send it down to the field with our announcers for the night, Dylan Cleland and Ed Diorio.
Good evening and welcome to Coach's Field at Carmichaels Area High School. Dylan Cleland, Ed Diorio with you for what promises to be a thrilling one as the undefeated California Trojans take on the undefeated Carmichael's Mighty Mikes. And for the Trojans, Ed, you have to look to the running back, Jaden Zuzek.
1,114 yards, 20 touchdowns. That's only through 4 games, Dylan. This guy is a tank with limbs. But if there's one defense in this Tri-County South that can maybe slow him down, it's the #1 scoring defense that belongs to the Carmichael's Mighty Mikes.
The Mighty Mikes defense allowing just 37 points, and it starts up front at the defensive line.
Big Nate Swaney, number 77, 6'5", 315 pounds. That's great size at any level of the WPIAL, especially right here in Class 1A. He's going to be leading that front seven that's going to look to stop Zuzek here tonight.
Well, Ed, it's the Trojans, it's the Mighty Mikes, and it's here at 7 o'clock on the Waynesburg University Sports Network. For now, though, we'll send it back to our WCTV studios and Riley Holsinger.
We will be going to a PSA break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be previewing the Carmichaels in California game. Now it's time for us to preview the game that the Waynesburg University Sports Network is covering tonight. The 5-0 Carmichael's Mighty Mikes versus the 4-0 California Trojans. Chris, what are your keys for the game for the Carmichael's Mighty Mikes?
So for the Mikes, I think it's pretty simple. What you have to do is keep the California offense off the field for as long as possible. You know that if they have the ball, they're going to pound away at you with Zuzak. What Carmichael's has going for them, though, is actually a really solid duo with quarterback Trenton Carter and running back Bailey Jones. So if you can keep your offense on the field, prolong some drives, keep the clock running, I think Carmichael's is setting themselves up to be really successful tonight.
Bruce, what are the keys for California in this game?
To me, one of their keys is very simple: ground and pound with Jaden Zuzak. It worked last week to the tune of 7 touchdowns. All 10 of their touchdowns came via the running game. My second key for California would be the turnover battle. The final score last week wouldn't suggest a 65-22 game was close, but 4 of California's touchdowns were within 2 to 3 plays after a Jefferson Morgan turnover. So win the turnover battle, California should be in a good spot.
My keys for the game, California, they have to feed Jaden Zuzak early on. The guy has been an animal for California throughout this whole year. And then my keys for Carmichael, you have to have a great run defense. You're playing against one of the best backs in the WPIAL at the moment. So moving over now, guys, who are your players to watch for the game for Carmichael's and for California?
Well, I mentioned him just a moment ago. Trenton Carter, the quarterback for Carmichaels. Last game he had over 200 yards passing, over 100 yards rushing. He's capable of doing it on the ground, through the air, and ultimately it's up to him to, like I said, prolong the drives, keep Zuzak and California off the field, also take care of the ball. Like Bruce said, winning the turnover battle is going to be absolutely huge, and I think Carmichael's put themselves in a really good position if they win that battle.
Bruce?
I think it's obvious to me that California's player to watch is Jaden Zuzak. He had 440 yards, 7 touchdowns in last week's win, but I am going to give some love and a shout out to the Trojan offensive line. On several of those plays, he had 1 or 2 blocks out in front of him for excess of 10 yards. So if the war's won in the trenches by the Trojans, it's going to be an easy night for Cal.
My players to watch, of course, from California, I have Jaden Zuzak. The stats for Zuzak is just ridiculous early on in this year. Through 4 games played, 62 carries, 1,114 yards, 18 yards a carry, and 18 touchdowns. Just a ridiculous number from him. And then for Carmichaels, we're going to keep it with the running backs here. We're going to go with running back Bailey Jones, 78 carries, 657 yards, 8.4 yards a carry, and 10 total touchdowns. But don't be shocked if it comes down to the quarterbacks to close this game out for these teams if the run defenses for both teams step up. So guys, now give me your score predictions for the game. Who do you have, Chris?
Well, I'm taking Carmichaels. I think we'll see somewhat of an offensive shootout. I think both teams are going to be really successful at moving the ball, which has not been common this season. Both teams sport really good defenses in terms of points allowed per game. But I think we're going to see a game where both teams end up in the 30s, but I've got Carmichaels winning.
Do you have a score on that?
I'll say 37-30.
All right, Bruce.
Not so fast, my friend. I think this game's going to be a bit lower scoring than that, but we're still going to see plenty of offense. I've got the California Trojans winning 34-26.
And I also have the California Trojans winning this game too, except it's going to be 36-22 for me. Thank you, Bruce and Chris, for your input on the Waynesburg University Sports Network pregame show. Now here's the moment we've all been waiting for. It is time to send it down to Dylan Cleland and Ed DiOrio for the Carmichaels in California game.
In a year of uncertainty, many didn't know how far we'd make it, but here we are, Week 6 of the 2020 WPIAL football season. And tonight, for the first time in 8 years and the first time in high definition, the Waynesburg University Sports Network proudly presents WPIAL high school football as the undefeated California Trojans have traveled to Greene County to take on the 5-0 Carmichaels Mighty Mikes. Dylan Cleland, Ed DiOrio here to guide you through this one, which promises to be an exciting game featuring 2 high-powered offenses.
You got that right, Dylan. We touched on it many times in the pregame. We talked about it briefly in the pregame show. Jaden Zuzak is the main story for the California Trojans. I mean, come on. The dude scores on average 5 touchdowns a game. That's going to be pretty hard to stop. But if anybody can do it, it's going to be this Carmichaels defense, obviously led by a heavy senior class. Looking up front for Carmichaels, one of those big seniors, Nathan Swaney. Number 77, you're going to see him a lot tonight, hear him a lot tonight, I'm sure. He's also joined by Trey Loma, another senior, and then 2 juniors on that defensive line as well, Austin Walker, Elijah Smith, and 2 seniors in the linebacking core, Hunter Voigthofer, Bailey Jones. You're going to see those guys on offense as well, but this defense has been one of the best collective units in not just the Tri-County South, not just all classification of 1A, but in the WPIAL. I mean, 7.4 points per game given up on average, that speaks for itself.
Yeah, it definitely does. Let's take a look at the Tri-County South standings, where we stand currently as we come into today. You take a look on your screen and see these graphics. Carmichael's atop at 5-0, both in the conference and overall. California 4-0 and 4-0. Alvela 4-2 and 4-2. Bentworth at 3-3. Jeff Morgan at 3-3. West Greene at 1-3. Mapletown 1-5, and rounding out the bottom, Monessen, who forfeit their final 2 games of the season. So a few teams in the conference benefiting from that. Last night, West Greene defeated Brownsville 53-12 after that forfeit with Monessen. They scheduled with Brownsville and picked up a win there. Jefferson Morgan with a win as well over Mapletown last night, 20-13. And also in Greene County, Waynesburg Central dropping one to Ligonier Valley, 42-7, Ed. But when you look at this Tri-County South Conference, it's really these 2 teams And then you have some competition behind, but these are the two premier teams.
And they've shown it all season with their point differential, with their winning margin against those other teams in the Tri-County South. But one thing you have to look at if you are the California Trojans, look back to last week against Jefferson Morgan. Coach Ed Wood talked about it. He said, we have to play clean. We talked to him before the game. He said, we have to play a clean game. We can't turn the ball over. We got to stay within our rights. We cannot have penalties. We cannot be a penalized team. And he praised Carmichaels for being that sort of team. He said how the Mighty Mikes are a disciplined football team. He wants his football team to be just the same way. If California can do that on both sides of the football and give Jaden Zuzek the ball early and often, hard to say that the Trojans at least won't have a chance to win this one late in the football game.
Sticking with keys, we talked to first-year head coach Ron Gallagher, head coach of the Carmichaels Mighty Mikes. He discussed the importance of keeping a balanced attack. He said typically we're a run team. One of the things he's trying to implement this year, and with Trenton Carter at the quarterback position and able to throw the ball, he said we have to mix in the pass. We have to use it when we can. So Carmichael's looking to go with the balanced attack here tonight. And he also said we got to stop number 2 on the other side, Jaden Zuzek.
They did, and going back to that balanced attack idea, Trenton Carter has been very balanced at the quarterback position. 539 yards through the air, 250 on the ground, 10 total touchdowns, 7 of them with his left arm, 3 of them with his 2 legs. So he's going to be a big factor in this game, along with the tailback, number 1 tailback with him. That's Bailey Jones. Guys looking to go to Air Force, 657 yards rushing, 10 touchdowns for Mr. Jones. That's going to be big. If Carmichaels can use their more balanced attack as opposed to the one-man show of California, once again, if Carmichaels plays their game, this is why this is a big game feel, a big fight feel for the conference, for the Tri-County South Conference in 1A.
Taking a look at last week, as we said, for California, it was a 65-22 victory over Jefferson Morgan, where Jaden Zuzek had 19 carries, 439 yards, and 7 scores. Let me read these off to you, Ed, because they're just a little bit impressive. 63 yards, 72 yards, 43 yards, 94 yards, 1 yard and 4 yard, okay, but then another 42-yard run. I mean, this kid is able to run the ball well, and that's what they're going to look for tonight. Carmichael's on the other side. They have not played since October 2nd because of the forfeit last week that they received from Monessen. So this team, got to think, is there a little bit of rust maybe, or does head coach Ron Gallagher have them up for this one? That October 2nd meeting, it was a 26-7 win against the West Green Pioneers.
That's a big thing to think about, and there's 2 edges to that sword. It is the fact that this team is on 2 weeks rest. Obviously, California took care of Jefferson Morgan handily, but you still had to play a football game. That is still another week of practice that you have to prepare for the opponent. They being Carmichaels, they knew that they were getting that forfeit before Friday. They've had a few extra days to prepare for California. Is that going to come into play, or are they going to come out rusty? There's obviously 2 sides to that coin, and I'm willing to see which side it is, as Carmichaels is going to be the first team to kick the football off tonight.
Yeah, so we'll see that high-powered offense of California getting the ball first. California ranking first in the Tri-County South in points this year with 196, averaging 49 per game. Doing the kicking tonight for the Carmichaels Mighty Mikes will be the senior Christian Morey. He'll get ready to put the ball on the tee, and the guys waiting to run it back for the California Trojans throughout the night. Both kick and punt returns will see Jaden Zuzek along with Keandre Porter and Nathan O'Savage taking turns returning kicks.
We're just about set. Here we go, Dill.
Saturday night football on the Waynesburg University Sports Network, and we're underway. And the first one is dropped initially by Zuzek, but eventually picked up, and it's Nathan O'Savage who carries the ball up to around the 24-yard line, and that's where we'll see the California offense start out.
William White coming down on the special teams unit, making the first tackle of the game. That's big. Obviously, Zuzek is certainly a threat as a return man. You kind of get a break early on, him dropping that football, not getting a chance to get that momentum going forward. Starts off for pretty average, if not maybe even below average field position for California if you're this Carmichaels defense.
Start out on the 24-yard line. First down and 10 for California. See a 4-receiver look to start this one with Stafford in the shotgun. Man in motion, he gets the handoff, and that is Zuzek comes towards the near side, pushes a man over, picks up a few yards, and it'll be second down.
Looked to be Voigthofer on the stop for Carmichaels. Not Zuzik on the first carry. That's a little bit of a diversion. Maybe Quandre Porter getting a touch as well. Some of these guys, that's the thing about when you have a one-man attack, you got to watch out for everybody else because that's how you kind of give up those other big plays. California's a good football team. They're not just a good player with Zuzik.
Second down and coming up. 3-receiver look this time, Stafford with Zuzik to his left. And Zuzik's going to take the direct snap, and he gets the first down and pushes forward. Gets pushed out at the 37-yard line. First down, and the chains move.
The quarterback, Trenton Carter, coming up from his linebacker position on this Carmichaels defense to make that stop. It's Loma, Swaney, Walker, and Smith along the defensive line. This linebacking core, Trenton Carter, Hunter Voigthofer, Peyton Schooley, and Bailey Jones. And then in the secondary, only 3 defensive backs as this is a 4-4 defense for the Mighty Mikes. Tyler Richmond, Zachary Carrick, and Brian White, the men behind as the last layer of defense.
First down and 10 for the Trojans on the 37-yard line. And another direct snap. It goes to Zuzik. He runs off the left side, makes some way, has some room, and is wrapped up right around midfield. But another first down. California moving the ball well so far.
You got to avoid those big plays if you're Carmichaels, and they haven't given one up yet. Obviously, only the 10-yard run there. But how much is it before the defense bends, before it breaks?
Ed Woods, the head coach of California in his second season, 11-4 at California. Spent 19 years at Beth Center before taking over as the Trojans head man. First down and 10, ball on the California 49-yard line. Here's a snap, and it's a handoff to Zuzik. He pushes forward, but the pile stops him. Now he gets driven back. Forward progress will give him a few-yard gain, and second down and medium coming up.
Plays like that, Dylan. This is not a passing team. Damani Stafford's statistics would prove that. Only a 53% completion percentage, only 142 yards through the air. This team does not really try to throw the football. And why would you if you have the numbers that Zuzik does? But this is something that Carmichaels really has to anticipate, and that's the run more times than not.
And Stafford, as you mentioned, he has the ability to take off and run, too. He has over 350 yards on the ground. He'll take this snap from under center with the 2-receiver look, and they are split. He takes the snap, drops back, and he's looking deep on this one, and it's caught all the way down to the 10-yard line, and it is Nathan O'Savage who makes the catch. Big catch and a big first down.
Broadcasters jinx, right? I say they don't like to go through the air, and there you go with around a 38, 39-yard completion on that one. So Nathan O'Savage, only 2 catches coming into this game, make it 3.
First down and 10, ball at the 13, so they will have a chance to get another set of first downs, needing to get the ball to the 3-yard line to do that. Just under 9.5 minutes here in the first quarter. Stafford under center, takes the snap, and it's a pitch. And here goes Zuzik into the end zone, almost untouched for the first score of the game, 6-0 California.
You said it, Dill. That was more on the offensive line and the blocking scheme of the California Trojans rather than the running back. All Zuzik had to do was run in, and it was all nothing but daylight. Right there to that right corner pylon. Touchdown, California. Now Carmichael's going to get a chance to respond.
Connor Vig on to attempt the extra point. Cole Woolpink will be the holder. Woolpink also the backup quarterback as a sophomore for this California team. A little bit of a high snap. It's going to be a fake. They toss it to Zuzik, and he sneaks in.
He did get there, Dill.
A 2-point conversion successful, not the traditional one either at that. They come out looking like they'll go for the extra point, but the pitch to Zuzik, and it's 8-0 Carmichael.
I was going to say they huddled up as if they were going for 2 originally, but then they backed up in that formation of an extra point. I guess that's what the huddle was for.
California now up 8-0 with 9:08 to go in the first quarter, and 1 drive, 1 score for Carmichaels.
This is big. This is absolutely huge if you're the Carmichaels Mighty Mikes. It's all about responses, right? It's going to be hard to stop Zuzik as it is. But if he is going to be on the sideline for most of the day. I think it was Chris Hulse who alluded to it in the pregame show. You got to keep Zuzek off the field, and the best way to do that is using your running game. That is with Carter and Jones, and we're going to get our first look at them here, hopefully, if they can not turn the ball over on this kick. But it's going to be big on this first drive to see what is Coach Gallagher's approach when it comes to the first offensive drive of the game.
California will kick off after the first score of this game.
Kicking off, number 4, Connor Vick.
Vig will be the kicker, and back to receive for Carmichaels tonight. Zach Carrick, and he is the one that gets it, and he comes up the field now, and he's on the near side with some room up to the 40, and he pushed out of bounds.
Big game like this, it's one of momentum, Dylan. That kick return helps. Any little play that can be made. And Jacob Smith on the return there, it was really it's a big-time play. You wouldn't think it, obviously, because it didn't go for a touchdown, but this is great starting field position for Carmichaels. And at the end of the day, it's all about the little things to put pressure on this Cal defense.
First offensive drive for Carmichaels. Carter, the quarterback, 2 receiver look to the near side, but the handoff is going to go to Bailey Jones, and he'll push forward for about a 4-yard gain, and second down will come up.
Yeah, we'll see where they officially spot the football. Yeah, going to your roots. Ethan Fike on the stop there. It was a host of Trojans, but it looked like Fike was the first one to meet Jones in the hole.
Second down and 7 coming up for Carmichaels. Carter takes the snap in the shotgun and drops back to pass. He's looking long to the near side. Michael Stewart makes the catch at the 25. Now he's to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown. Nope, they're going to say they marked him 1 yard short. An incredible effort by Michael Stewart, the junior wide receiver.
It looked like Mason Sholock pushed him out. They're firing off fireworks like that was a touchdown, but they marked him out a yard short. And they're trying to get on the ball and get this play quickly going here.
An athletic play by Stewart to make that catch over his shoulder, and now they'll line up and Carter will push in with a flag.
That's the thing. You want to rush, but you have to be set, and that's big. You'd think scoring from the 1 yard line, you'd think that's more of a sure thing than scoring from the 6. That looked like it was Swaney. I believe there were multiple Carmichaels Mighty Makes a jump, but Swaney being, as you can see on the bottom of your screen at the left tackle position, he is just a man amongst boys on that field, so it's easy to point him out.
So after the false start, it'll be backed up 5 yards, and Carmichaels will try again. Carter under center takes the snap, gives it to Bailey Jones, pushes forward to about the 3 yard line.
That's Seth Rarica. Rarica making the stop for the Trojans. He's got 32 tackles, 11 tackles for loss. He's been a force on that defensive line along with Tanner Pierce. They both are combined for 8 sacks. So if you're Carmichaels, I don't know if I'd avoid running from the left side, but gaining a few good yards there sets it up for a second down and goal in a short yardage situation.
Second down and goal coming up. Here's the snap. It's a pitch out to Jones, and he's going to be met in the backfield and brought down by Jaden Zuzek and Ethan Fike, both getting in there for the big stop for the Trojans.
What doesn't this guy do? I mean, does he get a water break? I can't imagine the stamina of Jaden Zuzek. And we've already seen him effective on offense, but right there making a big defensive play. And I don't know if, with how well California looked on that first drive, if this isn't maybe a considerable fourth down conversion try, but we got a flag here, Dill.
We do have a flag before the snap. It's an illegal substitution on Carmichaels. We hear from our official Steve Hall, head referee tonight.
You know, Ed Woods talked about it for California, and he praised the discipline of this Carmichaels team. They're not showing it here down when they had this ball at the 1 yard line. Now they're all the way back at their own 12, or on the California 12, excuse me.
So it's technically third down and goal still, but the ball on the 12-yard line. Carter takes the snap, throws to the end zone in a hand fight. It is incomplete, but a flag comes in. Michael Stewart, the intended receiver, who got tied up there.
Quandre Porter might be the guilty party. We'll wait to see, but that was a little bit of a delayed call.
Yeah, you got it. DeAndre Porter, the defensive pass interference.
It's a replay of third down. There's obviously some differences in the high school rules as compared to those of the professional. That is not an automatic first down. It's not a spot foul or spot of the ball. Only half the distance. It's still third down. They got to, this is still 6 yards out. That's no gimme. As the smoke clears from the premature fireworks show.
Exactly. We'll see if Carmichaels can get some here. It's Carter taking the snap, handing it off to Mr. Bailey Jones into the end zone. Touchdown, Mighty Mikes.
Bailey Jones striking up a conversation, and that means this game is one PAT or 2-point conversion possibly away from being tied.
8-6. California scores first, and Carmichaels answers right back.
There's the fireworks.
Carmichael says we'll go for 2 as well. Carter takes the snap. He's going to keep it himself off the right side. It gets hit at the goal line, but he gets in, and it's tied 8-8. With 7 minutes to go in the first quarter, we got a good one here in the Tri-County South. We're going to step aside for a quick break. We'll be right back here on the Waynesburg University Sports Network. And we're back with our kickoff. Following that, Anthony Hatchets with the return for California. Tied at 8 after 2 touchdowns, 1 from each team, and a 2-point conversion for each, bringing us to 8-8. California now with the football after the Carmichael score. Just under 7 minutes to go here in the first quarter. And it's going to be a handoff to Zuzik. He goes off the right side, cuts upfield, now gets past the 45 to the 50, dragging defenders with him, crossing midfield for the first down.
Bailey Jones, the man of the hour, just scoring the game-tying touchdown there on the tackle. It's going to be big to see how these two running backs who have to play both sides of the football, how they're going to respond to each other and how their stamina is going to be affected as the game moves along.
First down and 10 for California. Ball on the Carmichael's 49-yard line. 1 receiver to the near side and 3 guys in the backfield. Stafford under center. He takes the snap and hands it off. Pickup of a few yards, but nothing too big on first down. Zuzik, the ball carrier.
Just get used to it, folks. It's a broken record player when it comes to this running back, and I can't blame him. Zuzik, for his size and being 206 pounds at 5'10", he's a little bit stockier, but he's got quickness to make up for it, and he's got some shift ability. There's really, I'm trying to find a comparison for him to a more well-known running back. I just can't, but at the bottom line is he gains yards.
3 receiver look, but Zuzik takes the snap himself and gets off the left side, cuts back into the middle, a few yards, loses the ball. They don't mark him down either. It appears that they're going to say California recovered it, and that was Matt Trunzo, who hopped on the loose ball. Hunter Voigthofer, the one who knocked it out.
It's those little plays. I mean, it's the turnover margin. Coach Wood's talking about it. They got to keep it clean. Lucky to fall back on top of that one were the Trojans. Now they got a fresh set of downs because of it.
Get a look at Ed Woods, as we mentioned, 19 years at Beth Center, also the athletic director there before coming to California. He still works at Beth Center during the day as the Dean of Discipline. There's the handoff, and it's going to be Zuzik again, taking the snap and getting a few yards.
Not much doing there, Dylan, and you have to imagine field goal range in high school is a little less than the average football game you may watch on television, but we're thanking you if you are watching it here on the Waynesburg University Sports Network. First ever, not just high school football, but football game done with our new high-definition trailer, and we couldn't be more thrilled. We've been here for 2 days now trying to set up and make it all possible. Big props to our whole crew.
Cody McCoy with the stop for Carmichaels. Now it brings up a second down. Here's the snap, and Stafford throws it off the left side on a screen. And not getting too far is because of Bailey Jones making the stop. Nathan O'Savage, the receiver.
Bailey Jones sideline to sideline. You need those defensive playmakers to match the offensive ones on Cal's side. Bailey Jones has been that guy so far. If you're Carmichaels, and somebody's going to have to eventually take the weight off his shoulders on the defensive end so he can make an impact on offense too.
Third down and 5. Ball is at the Carmichaels 33-yard line. 3 receiver look, 2 to the far side and 1 over our way, and that is Matt Trunzo. Here's the snap. Stafford takes it and keeps it himself, pushing forward. He's going to be shy of the first down.
Cody McCoy right there making the play for Carmichaels. And now it's decision time. It is fourth down. Fourth down and what looks to be after that play around 2 or 3 yards. Let's see what Ed Woods wants to do here. Contemplating on that far side. Right next to the baseball field. You got everything here at this Carmichaels Athletic Complex. Except the basketball court. That'd be a little difficult.
Might get a little too cold for that. Not too cold tonight, though. A perfect night for football.
I'll say.
Perfect fall night. A little bit of a chill in the air, but nothing that people cannot handle.
We got our suits and our masks on all day. We've been nice and warm.
A crowd on hand, a small crowd. Capacity obviously limited due to COVID-19. And a timeout taken by California. So with the fourth down upcoming, California will make a decision.
Well, Dill, they may have a decision make, but we might not have our decisions made on the election. Election day is only 17 days away, ladies and gentlemen, and WCTV has you covered. WCTV's political talk show, The Waynesburg Effect, will have a 4-hour election night special starting at 7:30. Check out that and more of The Waynesburg Effect at our YouTube channel, WUDP. That's WUDP on YouTube.
It should be an awesome night all around. Chris Halse, who you saw on the pregame show, our producer for that show. Chris planning a lot of good things and a lot of different things that we can do now with our high-definition equipment, both here remotely and also back on campus at Waynesburg University inside the WCTV studios, which you all got a glimpse of during our pregame show this evening.
Fourth down and 2, Dylan. This is big. Obviously going forward here if you're California. I'd like to think the guy who's going to get the ball is the yards to go, and that's number 2.
Fourth down and 2, ball on the Carmichaels 30. Stafford under center, he takes the handoff, pitches it out. It's Zuzik. He moves a little bit, shiftiness, and trips up himself, but it looks like it's going to be close.
Needed 2. He looks like he got 3. From our vantage point up here on the concourse, the head referee, they're going to measure.
And you could kind of tell by the reaction there of everyone as that play kind of came to an end that they would measure, and so that's what it's going to be. This would be a first down for California if it is enough.
Our head referee tonight, Mr. Steve Hall, and that was Jake Ross leading the way for California.
Get the official measurement. And it is a first down for California. So Zuzik able to pick up at least 2.5 yards to get 2 and a little bit of the football to get the first down.
And this doesn't apply, obviously, for any student in the Department of Communications. They may say C's get degrees. That was the ultimate definition of that when it comes to getting the yardage necessary there.
About 2.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. 8-8 score. Carmichael's on defense, and California looking to add to it. It's Stafford, takes the snap and then scrambles. We said he could run, and that's what he's going to do. He gets over to the far sideline, pushes a man over for the first down, and gets inside the red zone as well.
You know, I talked about, and that was Zachary Carrick on the tackle, pushing him out of bounds. We talked about how if it's a one-man attack in your California, those other guys are going to be able to make plays as well. This is a good football team. Stafford showing why there. Got banged up a little bit last week, and he toughened it out playing tonight. And he's showing why he can start. He's still an effective player.
Around 2 minutes left here in the first quarter. 8-8. Carmichael's in California, two of the Tri-County South's best and two of Class 1A's best. Going at it here on a Saturday night. Stafford takes the snap, scrambles and has some room to run now. He's going to take it himself, pushes forward. Seen that strength from him a couple times now, putting the head down, not afraid to run. He gets a couple yards on the first down.
Trey Loma from his defensive end spot making the play there. Loma, not necessarily the biggest defensive lineman you're ever going to find. 5'11", 188, but it's all about physicality. It's all about heart and determination, is what they say. And as cliche as that sounds, Loma makes plays on that defensive line, and he shows that he belongs, and he did there.
Second down and 3, ball on the Carmichael's 9-yard line. Split receiver look. Zuzik in the backfield. Stafford under center. He takes the snap, gives it to Zuzik. He goes off the right side and then makes a cut towards the sideline. Almost gets wrapped up, but breaks that. And finally, a handful of Mighty Mike defenders able to wrestle him down to the ground.
Dill, I'm no expert when it comes to the game of football, but the one thing I've noticed when it comes to these Zuzik runs, there's been very few occasions where one Mighty Mike has brought down Zuzik. It's been a host of Mighty Mikes. There hasn't been one man to come up, hit Zuzik on impact, and bring him down.
Clock winding down here in quarter number 1. 8-8 our score. First down and goal. California with the ball on the Carmichael's 3-yard line. Stafford under center. Takes the snap. Pitches it out to Zuzik. The pitch is a little bit wonky, and it's going to be turned over. California not able to pick it up. It's Carmichael's that falls on top of the football. And a first and goal turning into now a first down and 10.
No. Or was it? Are they going to say that ball belongs to California, Dill?
And that's what they're going to do. They roll they roll California covering up on that one. So that's where we'll pick up when we come back. One chapter is written. We have 3 more to go. 8-8 our score here on the Waynesburg University Sports Network. We'll be back right after this. Carmichael's Area High School, our site for Saturday night football here on the Waynesburg University Sports Network. 1 quarter down, an 8-8 tie is where we were at after that first frame. And before the break, we saw Zuzik not able to handle the pitch from Stafford. A little bit of, I use the word wonky, but the officials deeming that it was not Carmichael's that fell on it, that it was in fact California. And so we'll have a second down and goal coming up for the Trojans on the opposite side of the field after they switched at the quarter break.
Certainly a lot of confusion on that play, but it results in California having the football still, fortunately, for the Trojans.
Stafford under center, Zuzik in the backfield. He takes the snap and gives it to Zuzik. He gets up to the 5-yard line, still pushing forward. And he's wrapped up around the 4.
Once again, it was a host of Mighty Mikes, but Michael Stewart, one of the mightiest of Michaels on this team, making the first impact there. And he's made a big impact as well, going back to his big reception, setting up Carmichaels down inside the red zone for their only score here today. We talk about how good these defenses are, both sides, Carmichaels especially. They're trying to hold here. It's third down.
Just under 11 and a half minutes to go here in the first half. Third down and goal, ball on the 4. Stafford takes the snap and throws it out to Nathan O'Savage, and he gets a couple yards, but is still shy of the goal line. Zach Carrick on the stop for Carmichaels.
I wasn't able to catch it. I don't know if it was Carter or one of the linebackers jumped that route, jumped that bubble screen, and put his hands up. Could not even deflect that football. Well-read play by one of the Mighty Mikes on defense, but just it's a game of inches, they say. And I think that was one of those instances there. But still, it is fourth down. It's do or die time when it comes to taking the lead here on this drive.
Another fourth down that California has to decide on. Carmichaels trying to defend and hold California out of the end zone. And they are going to go for it, so it'll be 4 receiver look, 3 to the far side. Zuzik, the sidecar to Stafford. He takes the snap. Zuzik goes out for the pass, but Stafford says, I'll keep it myself, into the end zone. Touchdown, California.
It's the decoy, Dylan. They fake to Zuzek. Everybody thinks that's who's getting the football. Ding dong, it's Damani Stafford.
Damani Stafford in for his 3rd rushing score of the season. And we now stand at 14-8 California with 10:20 to go in the second quarter. Extra point is up and good from Connor Vig. And we have a 15-8 score. Just a couple of minutes in to the second quarter. It's California with the lead.
You know, it's one of those things where there were a few instances on that 9-play drive to where California gave Carmichaels a chance to get the ball back. If you're Carmichaels, you can't take those opportunities. I mean, obviously, those plays are free ball plays, and nobody knows who gets it by the end, but we all assumed from up here that Carmichaels looked to have had that fumble, but it turns out Cal got it. If you're the Mighty Mikes, you just have to stay with it on defense. Even if you're giving up these points, you still have to be around the ball, making plays around the football. You never know when it's going to come out, especially when their head coach, Ed Woods, said to us pregame, we got to not be as sloppy. That, to me at least, means that his team has a tendency to either put the football on the ground or give the football a chance to be in the hands of the opposing defense.
15-8 to score, California with the lead. Back to return for Carmichael's Jacob Smith and Michael Stewart.
We've seen Stewart's playmaking ability already in this game. Got no doubt there's a reason why he's back there already.
Connor Vig to kick off for California. The walk up and the boot. It's fielded by Stewart around the 10-yard line. He brings it up to the 20, cuts to the right side now, past the 25, and was wrestled down around the 30, and there is a flag. Likely a horse collar. Will wait for the official call.
And Quandre Porter was the man to bring him down, but also might be the man who committed the infraction.
That is the call, so a 15-yard penalty after a decent return is going to set Carmichaels up on its own 44-yard line with 10-11 to go here in the second quarter.
Drive starting on the 40 and the 44 of your own territory. It's hard to ask for better field position than that on your first 2 possessions.
First down and 10 for Carmichaels. Carter in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Goes to the left side. He's going to keep it himself and run. That was his thought all along, and he gets the first down. Now he passes the 40, and he will be pushed out right around the California 40-yard line. First down, and the chains move.
Nathan O'Savage coming from his cornerback spot to make that play and push Carter out of bounds before he could gain any more yards. But this Carmichael's offense coming right back. That's the thing about a heavyweight fight. They're going to keep throwing punches at each other. It's just a matter of who falls first.
First down and 10. Carmichael's passing into California territory now. There's Carter and a few other Mighty Mike offensive players looking for their signal from head coach Ron Gallagher, who also calls the offense here for Carmichael's. Carter takes the snap. He's going to pass on the screen. And a short pickup is going to be snuffed out in the backfield. Bailey Jones, the recipient of that toss.
Ethan Fike meeting Jones right at the sideline, stopping the Air Force hopeful from gaining any more yards than he already did. Second down and long. These defenses, it's one play. It's one play that they need, and it's a big difference between second down and 10 and second down and any other yardage from the original line of scrimmage from the set of downs.
Bailey Jones' father, Dave Jones, also on the team, is Jesse.
Looks like we got a timeout on the field.
And so coming up at the half, Adam Morganti sits down with the executive director of the WPIAL, Amy Schoeneman. Adam asks her about her first year in her position, handling the COVID-19 pandemic and the upcoming football playoffs. Stick around for that exclusive interview, one-on-one, Adam and Amy at halftime.
Amy was so kind to take her own time out of her day this past week to do that interview with our very own, one of our hardworking seniors, Mr. Adam Morganti, on camera number 4 down on the sideline. Now, if you're Carmichael's here, Dill, what do you got to be talking about here when it comes to how Cal's been performing not only on offense, but it's already second down and 10. You're taking this time out here in the second quarter, and you're down.
Well, right now it's a back-and-forth game, Ed. You got to be on top of trying to get that punch back, as you said. And so I think right now Carmichael's focus has to be in trying to keep pace and keep things moving.
There looks to be an injured member of the Carmichael staff on the sideline. So I believe that's the delay.
Yes, that is it. I can't make out a face, but it appears it is actually Coach Gallagher who is down on the near sideline. And so that is our stoppage in play right now. So while they tend to coach Ron Gallagher on the sideline, we will step aside. Our score 15-8. California on top of Carmichael's, 9.5 minutes to go, second quarter here on the Waynesburg University Sports Network. Okay, so Coach Gallagher is okay as he's back up on the Carmichael sideline, and right out of the stoppage in play, Trenton Carter connects with Michael Stewart for a huge gain, pushing the Mighty Mikes all the way up into the red zone and bringing up a first down and goal.
There's that name again. Mama, there goes that man, Michael Stewart. This secondary of Cal might have to figure out some answers soon, or we might have ourselves a shootout.
First down and goal. Ball on the 10. Carter takes the snap. He's going to keep it himself, pushing off the right side, and he's wrestled out after a short gain. Ethan Fike on the stop again for California.
35 tackles coming into tonight for Ethan Fike. He might have 5 already. 1 sack along with that, two of them for a loss. This guy is a playmaker in the middle of this Trojan defense.
Well, Fike only a junior as well, Ed, 6 foot, 200 pounds. Nice size for an inside linebacker, and he's able to have a lot of mobility as well, which helps out a lot. Second down and goal was a pickup of 3 officially. Carter under center, 2 receivers to the far and 1 to the near side. Jones gets the pitch, and he's going to push forward, pushes one man over, circles himself into the end zone. Touchdown, Carmichaels.
Bailey Jones says, hey, Jaden Zuzek, I'm not the only running back in this ball game. He's got 2 already tonight, and we're a PAT away from being tied here.
Jones 2 touchdowns now on the ground for Carmichaels. Try to knot it up here. Carter will be the holder. Morey the kicker. It's down and it's back up. And it's no good. Wide left, it appears. And so the score remains 15-14. California with a 1-point lead.
You know, people have made, as there's a firework, people have made the joke in this limited capacity era of sports that the crowd goes mild or, sarcastically saying something like that. This limited capacity crowd, you can hear them. They are excited because they know what's at stake, and that is the Tri-County South Conference in 1A. Both teams really has shown up tonight. Neither team, I would say, Dill, has come out rusty or has shown any lack of effort or any sort of sleepwalking their way through this game. Not that I expected that, but maybe out of Carmichael's because, like we mentioned in the pregame, they haven't played in 2 weeks.
Jaden Zuzek and Nathan O'Savage on your screen. Back to return for California. 8:20 to go in the second quarter. Here's the kick from Morey. It's caught around the 20-yard line, and now it's brought up to the 25, passing through. It's Porter, the ball carrier. He gets to the near side now, spins off a tackler, and then falls down shortly after, but a decent return again. Both these teams returning the ball very efficiently on kickoffs, setting themselves up for really good offensive starts.
That's been the best return for California all day. It was Aiden Loudon, but California really with good starting field position. That's the last thing they need if you're this Carmichael's defense. Quandre Porter, was on the return there, but California just helping out their own cause there after having their first 2 drives start at their own 18 and 37.
First down and 10 ball in the California 44-yard line. Stafford in the shotgun. O'Savage in motion, moves to the far side, and the handoff goes to Jaden Zuzek. He passes midfield on the carry, stumbling forward, and he will be 1 yard shy of a first down. Second down and short coming up. Oh, nope, they said no, we'll give it to him. Initially it looked like maybe not. The officials signal to move the chains. First down for Zuzek.
Jones and Voigthofer both on the stop there for Carmichael's, and it's the same thing. Nobody can bring down Zuzek one-on-one, and I think that's a big effort. If you need 2 tacklers on the ball, that's not a good thing for your defense at all.
Security to the press box. Security to the press box.
7 minutes, 45, for about 47-40 left here in the first half. Porter in motion, gets the ball off that carry. And now Porter off the far side, passes the 40 and gets up to the 35.
Yeah, Bailey Jones again in on that play.
And this time they will say he is just shy, so second down and 1 coming up. Ball marked at the 36-yard line.
Ed Woods and his Cal coaching staff has been really at will, just going against this Carmichael's defense, which coming into tonight only gave up 7.4 points per game. They've already more than doubled that. So Cal's offense is having a good time.
6:50 to go here in the second quarter. Stafford takes a snap himself, and he keeps it, pushing forward. And now hitting a pile, and eventually it being blown dead, but not before getting a first down and some yards after that for California.
Cody McCoy, we've called his name a couple of times as well for Carmichael's defense. He's been giving relief to guys like Bailey Jones, and I saw Trenton Carter come to the sideline before that play. Carter's playing a significant role on this defense as well. Carmichael's just trying to look for an answer to this Cal running game that really, aside from that fumble, hasn't had many negative plays or plays stopped in the backfield.
First down and 10 ball at the Carmichael's 26-yard line. Stafford in the shotgun. Zuzek to his right, and Zuzek is faked the handoff, and Stafford keeps it himself, and he is met and pushed way back. Hunter Voigthofer in on the big stop for Carmichaels.
Maybe I should say things that Carmichaels isn't or is doing more often, because the opposite happens. I didn't think at this level broadcaster's jinx was possible, but apparently so. That was a great play by that Carmichaels defense. The forward yardage did give him a yard after that, but still, 2nd down and 9. You couldn't ask for much better if you're any defense.
California coming out here on 2nd and 8. Ball on the 24-yard line of Carmichaels. California looking to add to the 1-point lead they have currently, 15-14. Just around the 5.5-minute mark here in the second quarter. The pitch, and now he is going to throw it down the field for a touchdown. It looked like it was going to be Zuzik, but he tosses it down the field to Trunzo. A little bit of trickery, and it works.
I'm trying to watch that play as it happens, Dylan. I see 2 defenders for Carmichaels go, oh no, there's somebody back there. And sure enough, Trunzo was wide open, and a little trickery, a little Ken Wisenhunt action for the California Trojans, and it works.
Matt Trunzo, the senior 6'1", 203-pound tight end, also a part of the defense for California, making the catch there. Zuzik delivering a nicely thrown ball as well. Now Vig on to attempt the extra point, and the hold was not quite right as Vig approached it. And so the point after is no good, and our score remains 21-14. So we get a normal score now after a couple 2-point conversions. We settle at 21-14.
Maybe a little bit of an unorthodox way to get there, but 21-14 is one of the most standard scores in football. So if you're Carmichaels, even though you did give up that touchdown, it was a trick play. That might have been something that Cal's been saving for a game like this, but at the end of the day, now you know it's there, and the threat is there of Zuzek that not only can he run the ball, apparently he can pull out a Dan Marino every once in a while.
Enjoying our content? Check out more of it right here on our YouTube page, WUDP. You'll find shows about sports, news, politics, entertainment, and much more. Any suggestions? Contact our faculty advisor, Melinda Roeder, at mroeder@waynesburg.edu. That's MROEDER at waynesburg.edu.
A lot of this wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for Professor Roeder, Professor Richard Krause as well with the Waynesburg University Department of the Communication, and everybody else here helping out. We'll go through everyone more specifically at the end of the day, but, you know, we're just lucky to be here, not just because of COVID, not just because it's a Saturday night for football, but it's just great to be here with the Waynesburg University Sports Network making it possible.
Big kicks off. Smith and Stewart back to return on one bounce off of Stewart's hand. Now he has to track it down around the 10 and doesn't initially. And now he's in trouble way back in his own end zone, looking to get it out, and he at least comes up to about the 14-yard line, so he makes something out of nothing. And California will start, or Carmichaels will start in their own end pretty deep. But a little bit of a unsure mood there for Stewart.
Aiden Loudon came down on special teams to make that play, but the thing about that play for Stewart was he let the ball bounce and he thought it was just going to bounce right to him. That's a football. It bounces any way it wants, and sure enough, it went just over his head out of his reach, and that cost him time to gain more yardage, and this is the worst starting field position that Carmichaels had in their offensive drives in this half.
5:04 to go, second quarter. First down and 10 for Carmichaels. Ball on the Mighty Mike's 12. Carter takes the snap. He's going to keep it himself. He runs over to the left side. He is wrapped up in the backfield. Doesn't get too far. Trenton Carter on the run. Jaden Zuzek with the stop.
I should keep a counter of how many times we have to call number 2's name in the maroon and gold. He's all over this football field, and rightfully so. He's the best player on this team. And when you get into these smaller conferences in these, 1, 2A, you really see the stars shine because these guys are all over the field and have to play both sides of the ball just because of the roster sizes.
Second down and 10. Carter drops back, and he's going to throw it down the far side and right within reach, but off the fingertips of Tyler Richmond, the intended receiver for Carmichaels.
Big third down, Dill. We haven't seen a punt yet, and Carmichael surely doesn't want to be the first ones to do so. They will get the football to start the second half. So as long as Carmichaels can keep this within one possession going into halftime, that's going to be big. But consider considering that they're yet to stop, either team to this point has been yet to stop each other on their considerable drives. Carmichael certainly does not want to be the first one to give in on that category.
4 minutes, 40 seconds left here in the second quarter. Carter takes a snap and pitches it out to Jones. And Jones tries to cut inside, and he doesn't get very far. Ethan Fike in to make the stop along with Damani Stafford. We've talked about Fike, his defensive presence so far tonight. And we've seen it a few times, few big stops for the California defense.
As I mentioned, for Fike, 35 tackles coming into tonight. Only 1 sack, but that's not necessary when he also has 2 tackles for loss along with that. And Zuzik also making plays as he's back deep to receive this punt. Looks like we have another timeout on the field. I think somebody left the kicking tee out there from the kickoff.
Yes, they did. It's laying at the 50-yard line right now, Ed. Now they've gotten it off the field, and we're ready for this punt on a 4th down.
Those pesky tees, they have a mind of their own.
Ball on the Carmichaels' 14-yard line, 4th down and 8. Bailey Jones, the punter. A little bit of a high snap, but he's going to get the punt off, and it's a very nice one. As Zuzik backs up, and he's going to let it bounce around. Carmichaels will down it at the 41-yard line, and that's where California's next offensive possession will start.
Yeah, for the first time tonight, one of the 2 teams is starting in enemy territory to open their drive. And for California, you've got the 7-point advantage. You want to stretch this as far as you can. Just over 4 minutes in this half. That's going to be big. That's certainly enough time to not just tack on maybe 1 touchdown, but if you can get another 3 and out like you just did on defense, maybe make it 2.
21-14 our score, 3:51 remaining in the second quarter. California on top, and a chance to add on here before the half. 2 receivers, it's a split look with Stafford in the backfield and Zuzik his back. Stafford keeps it himself, gets a little block from Zuzik, and now he pushes up to the 35. He's getting knocked around a little bit, and he's pushed out of bounds finally by a handful of Carmichael's defenders.
And they're letting them play there. They let that play out a little bit, and in those instances, that's when you got to keep prying for that football and really trying to be aggressive. This game has played out early, and I don't know if you'd agree with this, Dill, as to one where a turnover can make all the difference and swing the momentum in anybody's favor, regardless of the score being as close as it is even right now.
Well, and turnovers was something that Coach Ed Wood said we have to be disciplined. We can't be the ones to commit them. 3 minutes to go here in the first half. Snap goes directly to Zuzik, and he runs to the far side, and he's not going to have much room. Thought maybe there'd be some more over there, but only a pickup of a couple yards on 2nd down.
It still makes it 3rd down and short. We'll see where they officially spot the football, but this is big for Carmichael's. Hunter Voigthofer was really leading that defense, making sure his team was over on that sideline, ready for that direct snap to Zuzik. We've seen that a couple times tonight, and I think Carmichael's is maybe starting to get the hint, starting to pick up on it a little bit, and we'll see what they have here up their sleeve. Does the Cal offense with 3rd down and 1 approaching.
Just under 3 minutes to go in this first half. 3rd down and 1 coming up for California. A chance to add on to a 7-point lead right now, 21-14 the score. Stafford takes a snap, hands it off to Zuzik. He gets the first down, but a flag is in. We'll wait to see what we get. Oh, a fumble at the end of the play.
There was a fumble at the end of that play, but we'll see what the flag is about. And if it is on Cal, this means this is a Carmichael's football.
It was also a very late fumble.
It was.
And it is an illegal formation on California's. And on California, Zachary Carrick, the one to recover the fumble for Carmichael's. It had to have squeaked out late, but Carrick the one to hop on it.
How about that? Play till the whistle blows, even when there's a penalty marker, and look what it means. It means that Carmichael's has a chance to tie this football game late in the half with the Mighty Mikes getting the football to start half number 2.
Here's the snap. Carter takes it. He hands it off to Jones. Jones off the right side, and he's wrestled down quickly by Damani Stafford for California.
Little bit of jawing, little bit of words afterwards. This game's getting feisty. I think these teams know what's at stake here, and these two units are really trying their hardest to stop the other. I mean, it's been a close one, so it's been a heavyweight fight like we've said.
Two top offenses in the Tri-County South. Carmichael's averaging 30.6 points per game. Carter's back to pass. He has plenty of time. Rolls to his left, dumps it off a little bit shorter to Jacob Smith. He gets a short pickup. And it'll bring up a 3rd and short.
Connor Vig making the stop. I don't want to say he was on the coverage because that play did develop a long time as he had all the time in the world in that pocket. Short yardage play doesn't hurt you at all. Still brings up 3rd down, but certainly more manageable than a 3rd and long. Now you're only at 3rd and 3.
3-receiver look. Carter takes the snap, rolls to the near side, thinking about keeping it himself, and he does. Jones gives him a little block, and it's just enough for Carter to squeak through for a 1st down.
Needed 3. He got 4. You bet. And Quandre Porter making the stop, but a little too late there. New set of downs.
Well, now Carmichael's has to keep an eye on that clock as we have now under 1:40 to go here in the first half. 60 yards to go for the score as Carmichael sets up on its 40-yard line here. Carter takes the snap, gets a block from Jones again, and he keeps it himself for a pickup of 4. 2nd down coming up.
And it looks like there's going to be a timeout called on the field by Carmichaels.
Coming up at the half, Adam Morganti sits down with the executive director of the WPIAL, Amy Schoeneman. Adam asks her about her first year in the position, handling the COVID-19 pandemic. In the upcoming football playoffs as well, some format changes. They'll have the latest on that. Stick around for that exclusive interview. Adam Morganti and Amy Schoeneman coming up at the half here on the Waynesburg University Sports Network.
Once again, we have to thank Ms. Schoeneman for her time and taking time out of her busy schedule, I'm sure, not just in any week of the WPIAL, but we're getting pretty close to playoffs here as the guys discussed on the pregame show, but certainly a watch worth your time as Adam Morganti sits down with Ms. Schoeneman. And I'd have to think she's tuning into this one if she's just a football fan of the WPIAL, because this has lived up to expectation.
It has. It's been a tremendous night so far, Ed. We have a tight game, which is what you always like to see, always could ask for as well. And that's where we stand. 21-14, California with the lead. 1:17 to go, and Carmichael's with the football here at Coaches Field at Carmichael's Area High School here in Greene County. 1A Tri-County South Conference on the line tonight. Carter takes the snap. And he's going to throw it to Stewart. He makes an attempt to catch it, but it's in and out of his hands, and it's incomplete.
Rolling to his right, the southpaw in Carter, that's not the easiest throw for him, throwing across his body. And, obviously that ball is more towards the left hash on the football field. That is grass here. You don't really see that too often, but tough play for Carter there. Let's see what they do on 3rd down.
3rd down and 6, ball in the Carmichael's 44, and it's a quick pass. Carter finds Richmond on the far side. Enough for the 1st down. He gets out of bounds as well. The chains will move, and Carmichael's offense will as well.
You said it, Dill. Got out of bounds. Connor Vig pushed him out, but just being aware on that sideline now in enemy territory, there's still over a minute to go. A lot can happen in that time frame. All you need is a second to score a touchdown in the game of football.
Carmichael's with 2 timeouts. California also with 2 here remaining in the first half. 4-receiver look. Carter takes a snap, rolls to his right. And he's going to keep it himself. Tucks it and runs up the field, gets past the 35 and out of bounds again to stop the clock.
Damani Stafford and Zuzik was in there as well. They better be thankful because he was heading towards that sideline. I thought there could have been a late push because he was heading that way, but no flag, no laundry, and the 2 teams on this final drive has kept it clean.
California now calls a timeout. A little bit of a chess match going on here tonight, Ed. We've seen these 2 teams go back and forth. California now saying, can we plan to not let them get these 36 yards and score before the half?
Certainly, but these 2 head coaches, for as little head coaching experience they have at their 2 programs, Ed Wood's only in his 2nd season, Ron Gallagher, as we mentioned, in his very first season. He doesn't want to suffer his first loss as the Carmichael's head coach, and they're really playing chess. Obviously, this timeout doesn't matter when it comes to California giving them time. He ran out of bounds. The clock was stopped regardless. But these 2 teams really know what momentum feels like and what it takes and what it means in a football game. As I've mentioned, Carmichaels gets that football to start the second half. If it's tied, Carmichaels has the chance to take their first lead of the night if they get the football back in a tie game at halftime.
A win for Carmichaels tonight, too, would also be the program's 500th victory. 499 wins, that's where they're sitting at right now. So Carmichaels always having those little factoids as well, trying to keep that in mind. That's a program milestone, and for Coach Ron Gallagher, it would be a great thing to accomplish here in a big home game tonight. 1 minute to go, first down and 10. Carter with the snap, looking to the left side. Stewart, his intended receiver, he has room. He makes the catch and walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Carmichaels.
There was, I believe, a flag on the play, yes. Wow. Now that takes the wind out of your sails,
so
doesn't
it's
it?
an illegal motion on Carmichaels, and so it'll negate the touchdown score. And Stewart, a beautiful route, a nicely
Thrown
placed ball.
I mean, Carter's arm is on point tonight. His accuracy has been so precise, but right there, I mean, how does Carmichaels respond? That's the biggest thing. They just gave themselves their own punch. How do they respond?
54 seconds to go, second quarter. Two receivers to the near, one to the far. Carter takes the snap. He's going to throw. Jacob Smith makes the catch, the short one. Then he gets out of bounds quickly.
Little yardage. It was still first down play, and there's 48 seconds left. Not a bad play call at all. Smith, little bobble, but he had the room to recover, turn upfield, and gain the yardage he needed.
Well, it was a first down and 15, too, because of that penalty. So getting about half of that back now at a second down and 7 coming up. With the ball placed at the California 41-yard line. 48 seconds to go in the second quarter. Carter takes the snap, looks to the left side. And the ball was caught by Tyler Richmond, and now he goes straight for the sideline. Great awareness to get the first down and get out of bounds.
You said it, Dill. Awareness. That sophomore Tyler Richmond knows this game and knows his surroundings. He's aware. Getting out of bounds there, that's big. Still 40 seconds left. 42 seconds exactly.
Looking to the sideline. Coach Ron Gallagher takes care of the offense here, and he is signaling in the next play. And it's Carter with Jones to his right and a 3-receiver look on our side and one to the far. And it's Carter now looking to throw again, and he does. And the ball is caught, and right out of bounds goes Michael Stewart. Stewart getting a first down for Carmichaels. And now, with 35 seconds left, Carmichaels continuing to move up the field.
This has been the most well-put-together drive I think I've seen from Carmichaels' offense. They mixed in the run to start the drive, but now knowing the situation with the time, they got to put it through the air. And Carmichaels has kept themselves in this football game because they are the far superior team with their air raid attack. Cal hasn't really tried to throw the ball, but why would they? They're the team ahead.
First down and 10 on the 14. Carter takes the snap. He's going to keep it himself, goes off the side, pushes off Zuzik a little bit to pick up a couple yards. Not a huge gain, but getting out of bounds to stop the clock again. Keandre Porter, the California defender, that pushes him out.
How about Carter saying, hey, you're not the only number 2 on this field that can make a play. Giving the stiff arm to Jaden Zuzek, saying, get off me. Didn't get that many yards with it, but still, second down, got a few yards as well. And there's still 27 seconds left in this half. A lot of time left.
Second down and 7. Ball at the California 11-yard line. Stewart in motion to this side. Low snap, but Carter is able to pick it up, and now he's going to throw to Stewart, and it's intercepted. And California with the interception up the sideline. Anthony Hatchets back into the middle of the field now, and he is pulled down around the 41-yard line. And after a well-put-together Carmichaels drive, an interception late in it, Anthony Hatchets, the senior, 6'1", defender, outside linebacker, making the interception.
I mean, right when Carmichaels makes the defensive play to shift the momentum at the 250 mark of this quarter, man, they give it right back.
Steve Hall announcing a sideline warning, unsportsmanlike on the Carmichaels sideline. After that interception,
Trying to keep things under control is Ron Gallagher and the rest of his Carmichaels coaching staff. I was watching the play. I didn't see what would have caused it, but now if you're California, 14 seconds, what kind of defense do you play if you're Carmichaels? Do you play prevent? Do you try to come up and focus on Zuzek? You have to wonder. This is a big-time sequence here. There's not a lot of time left, but there's enough.
First down and 10 ball on the Carmichaels 43-yard line. We'll see what Ed Woods comes up with. It's a 5-receiver look. Stafford in the shotgun takes the snap, rolls to his left, feeling pressure, throws it up into the end zone, and it is incomplete. Brian White in coverage for Carmichaels to fend off any chance of a catch there.
Trying to do his best impersonation of an over-the-shoulder catch by a center fielder, but not to be. Obviously would have been a great interception, but a well-defended play. So California will call that another timeout in this half and talk things over. Arguably, probably, I mean, with 7 seconds left here, this is going to be, could be the last play of this first half.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter for some bonus content as well. Follow WCTV at WCTV_Waynesburg and WUSN at WU Sports Network. And a reminder, you won't want to miss it. Coming up at halftime, Adam Morganti sits down with the WPIAL Executive Director, Amy Schoeneman. Amy, so gracious, we are so gracious that she took some time this week to talk to Adam in an exclusive one-on-one interview, all the latest in what she's going to do with her new position as the Executive Director, how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected that first year, and of course, what is going to happen with these WPIAL football playoffs. Adam and Amy coming up at the half.
Adam and Amy, that sounds like a good CBS show on the weeknights.
Little ring,
I'd watch it.
Little ring to it. 8 seconds to go. Second down and 10 ball at the Carmichaels 43-yard line. One receiver to the far side, that's O'Savage. Stafford under center. Takes the snap, drops back. A short pass, and then a pitch to Zuzek. And he is wrestled down at the 36-yard line.
I believe that would be the end of the half. I don't think there was a timeout called before the end of the play.
Less than a second to go. There's also a flag on the far
down.
side.
And it's against California. So if it's the end of the half, you would have to think it's just a decline, as that little hook and ladder, little maybe trickeration. It worked one time, but
Steve Hall coming over to Ron Gallagher to explain. And we'll wait to hear officially from Steve Hall what exactly it is going to be.
So the penalty here, I would think it's
Legal formation on the offense and illegal forward pass, which will be enforced 5 yards with a slaughter foul. Launch it down, it'll be third down.
So an illegal formation and an illegal forward pass.
because of, obviously, they tried that lateral after the curl route, pitch back to Zuzek, but he was a little too far out. And that's going to be the end of the first half anyway.
Well, it was everything that was promised and more, a back-and-forth contest, and the score at halftime is 21-14. Ed will do play-by-play for the second half. But now it's time for halftime, and you'll want to stay tuned, as coming up, WUSN's Adam Morganti sits down in an exclusive one-on-one interview with the new WPIAL Executive Director, Amy Schoeneman. Our score at halftime, though, California 21, Carmichaels 14. Second half action coming up, too. Stay tuned to WPIAL football here on the Waynesburg University Sports Network.
Have you ever been to the Everly Library? If not, you should, because it's great. They have books of all different genres: history, biography, fiction. Try The Evolution of Life, Life of Pi, or Jurassic Park. So what if books aren't your thing? Try movies like Frozen, or TV shows like Lost. Books and DVDs aren't the only thing, though. Take a trip to the second floor. Welcome to the Writing Center. These tutors will tell you everything you need to know about writing a paper, and they'll help revise your essays. Now let's head back down. Behold, the Knox Learning Center. Need to print something out 5 minutes before your next class because you procrastinated? No problem. You can also print off pictures of dogs. Because, well, you can. So grab your homework, laptop, and textbook, and study diligently. Bring your lunch too. Actually, you can't. That's illegal. Now you know the Everly Library. Stop by anytime. Seriously, it's open all week.
Welcome to the Waynesburg University Sports Network halftime show. I'm Adam Morganti, and joining me today is the WPIAL Executive Director, Amy Schooneman, and this is her first year as the WPIAL Executive Director and replacing Tim O'Malley. Now, thanks for joining us today, Amy, and my first question is, what is some of your main roles as the Executive Director of the WPIAL?
Our main roles obviously are to oversee our sports championships and to facilitate schedules for all of the schools involved in the WPIAL, and to make sure that our schools know, understand, and follow the PIAA bylaws and constitution so that everybody is on an equal playing field.
And with this being your first year, what are some of the challenges that you're facing as being the executive director? Obviously, during the COVID-19, they're adding some extra challenges. So what are some main issues that you have had to overcome during your first year?
Well, as you said, obviously the main issue right now, everybody's focus is dealing with the COVID situation and how we can continue with sports through it. And I think that's been everybody's main focus here, as it has been ours, in trying to provide an opportunity for all the student athletes to participate this fall. So that obviously has been what we've been focusing on, and what I, as the executive director, have been trying to do, as well as make some changes in our office to make sure that we're doing the best we can for those students.
What are some of those changes that you are looking to do in your office to make it better for the students?
As we said, probably heard before, we've created a diversity and inclusion advisory council where we can hear from those that may be underrepresented on our board. So those initiatives have taken place. Last year, actually, we started with our sportsmanship, change of our sportsmanship initiative, and trying to change the sportsmanship summit. Obviously, that's been put on pause this year due to gathering restrictions, but continue to grow in that endeavor is something that we're focusing on. We have some ideas that we want to include in the future that include leadership councils and so forth for the student athletes. So those are kind of all on the docket to be incorporated, but just haven't been able to get to that based on the situations we're facing.
And I have that you started the WPIAL We Finish Together project. So what does that project involve, and what are some of the things that what are some of your goals you have while doing that project?
Yeah, we started that last year, and we collected medals that were repurposed from the schools that may have had them laying around, or individuals who had them from events that they may have competed in. And then what we asked them to do was write an encouragement message on that medal, either an attachment or on it itself, paint it. And then on the ribbon, they would put the WPIAL We Finished Together. And those medals were then, we did distribute some to the Special Olympics at the bocce tournament out at Cool Springs last March. And we were planning on distributing them to nursing homes, to some of the elderly folks there. But unfortunately, COVID stopped that distribution. So we do have medals to distribute, and we were going to continue to do that once we're allowed. But it's a way to get everybody on the same page and encouragement to others, and helping just to get the message out there that we are finishing together.
Awesome. So yesterday, you guys came up with a playoff format for all the fall sports. So specifically for football, what is the playoff format going to be this postseason? What were some of the decisions that came up for you to make this format that you guys did?
Well, the format for football specifically was changed due to the PIAA's advancement into their tournament sooner. So we had to limit the amount of qualifiers in football, which is unlike every other sport that we had, where we're continuing with the traditional amount of qualifiers. So football was changed to be reduced by 1 week. So we have 4 qualifiers in 6A and 8 qualifiers in the other 3 classifications, which will allow us our tournament in time for entry into the PIA tournament. That being said, we had to determine how to select those participants. So we identified them, the top 4 from 4A, from 6A, there's only 1 classification, so it's just the top 4. And if it's undetermined by the games that have been played, then the committee will need to select based on pre-existing criteria, as well as strength of schedule, games played, and reasons for cancellation. So those types of things will be taken into consideration if it's not determined already by records. For the other classifications, typically we take a allotted number of section champions and second place, third place. Now it will be changed. 2A will be the top 2 section teams, and then 2 wild cards. And then in 1A, it's 1 section team and then 4 additional wild cards. Again, using that same theory that the committee would need to select those qualifiers that aren't identified by the process.
I'm talking to the WPIAL Executive Director Amy Schooneman on the Waynesburg University Sports Network halftime show. And you mentioned some of the other criteria for the playoff teams. So there's a lot of teams that haven't played that many games because of COVID-19 postponement. So is there a way based on percentage points that those teams that haven't played the 7 full game regular season can get into the playoffs?
Yes, there will be teams that haven't played full 7 game schedules that will make the playoffs, if that's what you're asking. As far as using percentage, win percentage, that will be one of the criteria that they could look at, but it may not be the only determining factor based on teams will have played different teams. So that's not exactly a fair way of doing it either.
And for the WPIAL championships, are those sites set in stone? I know some classifications are at Heinz Field, but is that going to be subject to change, or is that pretty much set in stone where you guys are going to play the WPIAL championships?
No, actually all WPIAL championships will be at high school venues this fall, and those sites have not been selected yet. They will be announced in a couple of weeks before the teams get that far.
And before you were you became the WPIAL executive director, you were an athletic director at a couple of high schools. So with you being the athletic director at those high schools, how much did that help you in preparing for the current job that you have now?
Obviously, it was vital in learning the role that we are dealing with in our office now, of what those athletic directors go through on a daily basis, and how we can assist from our office those that are in a position of administration in the high school. So obviously knowing from the back end what's needed, we can help from this side to the schools and help them either learn what they need to learn or make their processes easier.
And how much did the person that you replaced, Tim O'Malley, help you prepare for taking over for his position?
Tim O'Malley was an invaluable resource to us as we went through the process last year when I was the assistant executive director, so that he informed me of how tournaments were run, the backside, all the preparation, and that kind of thing that obviously people on the outside aren't aware of. So it was a vital role in me being here last year to be prepared for this year.
And you already mentioned some of your things that you've done while being the WPIAL executive director, but moving forward, what are some of the main goals that you have for the WPIAL?
Yeah, there's a lot of initiatives that we're going to take step by step, and some of them are small steps that might make a big difference in regards to just structuring in our committees and allowing them an opportunity to have influence. And then also incorporating a leadership council, as I mentioned before, is something that we are looking to do. But to be quite honest, we want to continue the tradition of high school athletics in Western Pennsylvania and having just a level of prestige that a lot of districts around the state do not have. So in an effort to continue that, we're going to just advance from a technological side to an informative side to just trying to make it better every day.
And my last question for you today, what is the biggest thing you learned about yourself while being in the first year of this new role?
What I've learned about myself?
Yes.
That again, I know that I'm a hard worker and, love a good challenge. So every day I'm challenged, and that's a good thing because it makes me better by having to do the unknown right now with COVID. So trying to be in a leadership role, and people are looking to our office for advice, and we're trying to provide that. So, every day is a challenge, and hopefully we come out on top.
Well, thank you very much. That was Amy Schuneman, the WPIAL Executive Director, with my sit-down interview. I'm Adam Morganti.